Hello friends, it's me again, May. I hope that you're doing okay. In today's video, I am going to give you a tour of my finished sketchbook. So this is a sketchbook that is by Arteza, and I believe this is their watercolor sketchbook. I started this sketchbook in 2020 when I was still living in Manila, right before I moved to Tokyo during the pandemic. So this is just the opening page of my sketchbook. So it is currently midday here in Tokyo, so I apologize if the camera picks up a little bit of noise. So let's start with the cover page. For a long time, this cover page was left blank. I only worked on this early this year, so I just wrote my name and some of the things I like letters, plants, flowers, my journal, coffee, matcha, some biscuits, sketchbook in my journal, juice, fruits, paintbrush. So let's move on. I thought about not sharing this sketchbook with you because I'm not very artistic. So to be honest with you, this particular drawing was drawn by my husband. I cannot draw like this, and just to show you how amateurish I am, this is how I usually draw. Like, it's very childlike. I wanted to do something for YouTube, and so I asked my husband to draw this for me, and I just did the colors using watercolor. So I'm still very proud of this because I got to practice mixing colors, and yeah, the challenge really was getting the skin tone right, and I think I did a pretty okay job there, so it was okay. Let's go to the next page. So this was done. This was the very first painting that I did when I moved here to Tokyo during the pandemic. So this painting, although I forget when this was done, was the very first time I took the train to Shibuya. And it was when lockdown was lifted and Shibuya still looked like a ghost town. Like, the crossing looks almost unrecognizable. This was the crossing with very few people walking around. Here's another photo of the crossing, and you can see there was just this one person on the street. So I painted this using watercolor, and I'm really proud of how it looked. Next, I didn't know what to do. In the next pages, I was really insecure about my painting skills and my drawing skills. So I just used this sketchbook for a series of swatches because I was buying a lot of watercolors but not using them yet. Yeah. So this was a quick, maybe 10-15 minute watercolor of the fields between Yahiro and Yotsugi Station here in Tokyo. I really wanted to draw fluffy clouds, but I didn't know how to do that yet. So this was done in June 10, 2021, after like a year. And then this is just a quick doodle of different kinds of trees. And then in here, I wanted to make it like a nature journal entry, and there were azaleas blooming around April this year. So this was the time when I started showing up to the pages of my sketchbook more consistently. That only happened this year. And yeah, I really like the azaleas blooming. I painted it using, I think, a combination of watercolor and pencil. And then I just put a stamp and entered the date and what I thought about it. And then this was done November 23rd, 2021. I skipped there, didn't I? Yeah. So this was really old, and I doodled this in a video in collaboration with Domestika, and I endorsed one of their courses. As you can see, I'm really not that good at drawing or painting. I'm still learning here, and in that particular video, I just talked about how it's okay to be a beginner, and the important thing is really to just show up to the page, and that's what I did here. The next one is just a simple painting of a bouquet of flowers. I followed Shayla Campbell here. You can find her on YouTube. I love her. And then you'll see in this video that I am obsessed with clouds. I like looking at clouds and see their different shapes, and my wish is that I could draw fluffy clouds. So I started with this, and I will continue to paint clouds in the next pages. You will see them. But this is how I used to paint clouds. They're very flat. Like, I didn't know how to work on shadows and lights yet. So yeah, this is what happened. Also here, like, I'm happy with this, but it could be better. So I'm starting to play around like shadows. You see some gray shadows here, but not so much because I was scared to use my paint. And then the light, the electric poles and the wires were done using colored pencil. Next, so still on our cloud studies, this is something that I've done using oil pastels. And then I made a note that says, clouds are so much easier to look at than to paint. I really, really wish I could draw or paint clouds. But here, I found it really hard. I don't know if it was the pastel or the paper, probably just my skill, but I wanted the clouds to look purplish, but I didn't blend that really well, and you can see it here. And then the next one, I'm semi-proud of this one. This is a painting of Tokyo's skytree as seen from the Nakagawa Park. I'm really proud of how the clouds here are more visible compared to how I used to paint them. I just really wish that I used a ruler for the Tokyo skytree drawing, because that would have made it better, but I like this. So here I'm starting to really use my sketchbook like an art journal. So this was my first day back to school after the summer vacation. I just did a doodle of the lanterns that I saw on the way to school, my new water bottle, my portable microphone and speaker. I'm a teacher, and buying this made my life really easier. I got a gift, a Trader Joe's bag from my co-teacher. He went to America during summer break, and I also pasted the tag of the bag on the next page. And then here, so during summer we went to Obara Beach in Chiba, and it's one of the clearest beaches we've ever been to, and we really like snorkeling there. And I just painted some of the fish that we saw during our beach trip. And for my next one, so during summer, I also played A Place for the Unwilling on the Nintendo Switch. And I like games where you can just get immersed in the world and you have to take notes. So here are just some of my notes for the game, and this is the main character. I really like how I painted the main character of the game here. I'm very proud of how I did this. And I'm not so proud of this page because it looks very childlike. Like, this is a lady, if you will believe it. That's a lady that I always see her walking like really, really fast outside the apartment around 5 o'clock in the morning. I see her because it's also around the same time that my husband leaves the house, and I watch him walk to the train station. So I always see her in the morning, and I wanted to paint her. So yeah, I wish that I could have made her look more like a woman. She looks like a man here, but I really didn't do her justice. And to make up for it, I just drew like the sun and a little random plant, although like there wasn't a plant there, and then I just added some stickers. But I'm so glad that there is a space on my sketchbook for the lady that I see in the morning every day. Then for the next page, I pasted a brochure that we got when we visited Tokyo Sea Life Park. I love, 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 love sharks, and we saw hammerhead sharks there, and we also saw a blacktip shark and just some colorful fish. So I just drew some fish and the sharks. And then on this page, I got a letter from my friend Christina. She lives in Texas. And in the letter is this really cute paper bag. So I just pasted this paper bag here. And then it says here, flip this page to see some shark shadows from my previous painting here. And continuing my art journaling pages. So this was a random Monday, and I made coffee. My husband made me buttery garlic bread and hot chocolate after work. So I just put a note here that says, my husband can make any day feel like Sunday. So next is just a page dedicated to future projects that I wanted to work on the next pages because I really wanted to finish the sketchbook. And then I just made some doodles. I really like this doodle of like a muscular buff titanium. And then on Tuesday, I wrote a poem that I really like. Right now, I'm reading a poem for every autumn day, and I really like this poem for September 26th, so I wrote it here. It's Wild Geese by Mary Oliver. And then I just added some stickers from Mochi Bujo. And then we're back on working with clouds. This is such a beautiful sunrise during the summer, and I wanted to put this on to paper. So this was my reference photo for this, but I messed up somehow and this looks like a sunset. I didn't do quite a good job at it, so this looks more like a sunset than a sunrise, but I'm really happy with this one. Like, this looks more like a mountain than a cloud, but I'm still happy with the shadows and everything. And like I said, it's just at this point it was more important for me to show up to the page and just continuously work on drawing and painting clouds. So yeah, let's move on. So next is a back of a postcard. This is a postcard that was sent to me by my friend Dion, who lives in California, and I pasted this here because I really like the stamps. So next is another nature journal entry. So this is my neighbor's hibiscus. So they were blooming and they were so beautiful. In the morning when I passed by her garden, the hibiscus would look like this, and in the afternoon they would open up and look like this. So it was really nice. Yeah, and then I just put some facts here. Like, women in Hawaii wear the flower on their right ear to announce that they're single and ready for marriage. And if you only want to wear it for decor, then you have to wear it on your left ear. This page, this was from a September calendar that I was going to throw away, but I didn't want to throw away the illustrations because they're really cute, so I pasted them here. And then here's a quick painting of some ginkgo leaves that are changing colors and some very smelly ginkgo seeds. So did you guys know that ginkgo seeds are smelly because of butyric acid, the same chemical found in human vomit? Like, I didn't know that, so I wrote it down here. And apparently it smells really bad for us, but for birds, they like it and they like eating these. So anyway, next is a drawing of Arankun. Arankun is a dog, so Arankun deserves a space here. I actually want to work on a complete painting of him when I get better. But Arankun is a dog who waits outside the school gates every morning and just waits for anybody who wants to pet him or hug him. And I pet him whenever I can, and he knows me. I love days when I'd be a few steps away from the school gate and he'd already be walking towards me. I really love Arankun, and I cannot wait to paint a better painting of him. So this one is just a postcard that I sent to my patrons this month, so you guys can check out my Patreon in the description below. So next, October 15th this month, we went to Shimokitazawa, and there was this really huge moon exhibit to celebrate the beginning of autumn and the moon festival. And I just did this painting. So this was my reference photo. Like, there were a lot of people and the moon was just huge. I did this using gouache. So on this page, I just made some very simple doodles using colored pencil, following a drawing book that I borrowed from the library. So this was Monday, October 2nd. So I went to the dermatologist and I had this pimple right below my eye, and I couldn't pop it because if I did, it might get into my eye, and I was really worried about that, and it was there for 3 weeks. So I decided to just go to the dermatologist, and apparently for $13 I could get my pimple popped. I did not know that before that. So yeah. So these images are from the brochure that I got from the doctor's office, and I just made a quick drawing of tweezers and my eye. And the next page is just words. I started reading The Artist's Way, and this was my morning pages. And then here is another cloud study that I did using my jelly gouache, and I like this. It looks more realistic than the cartoonish clouds that I used to draw. And then another Patreon page. So for October, the theme of the Patreon goodies that I sent was Pochako or Sanrio. So, and I just listed some ideas for November as well. Next is a very simple autumn tree painting that I did following Emma Block's Get Started with Gouache book. And then on the right side, I just put a quote from Where the Crawdads Sing. So the next page is another art journal entry for October 16th. We had a lot of leftover corn, so I made corn fritters for the first time. And I wrote, "It was okay," just like this drawing. And then this was a sticker that I put because my husband was experiencing some back pain. And this was from a dream I had where my mom saved me while we were at Disneyland, which was really weird. But I felt really comforted by the fact that she saved me in my dream, so I wanted to draw her here. And then the next page is another morning pages. I like using date stamps and just some of the notebook therapy stamps that I have on the side to decorate it. So for October 18th, I made a very quick painting of a tree called Omoku Genji. It was really interesting because during autumn, the colors of the leaves change from green to pink and then to yellow. It was so beautiful. Like, I had to look multiple times. It really had both pink and yellow leaves. It felt like spring and autumn at the same time. And then my next sketchbook arrived, which inspired me more to finish my sketchbook. So the sketchbook that I'm going to use next is this Stillman and Byrne Zeta series, and I'm going to make another video when I start that. But when I received that in the mail, I just made a quick doodle here, and this was from the packaging of that sketchbook. Next is a collage that I made when I finished reading A Man Called Ove. I highly recommend it. So it's about a man called Ove, of course, and he wanted very much to die, but instead he discovered how to live. That's the best way I could introduce that book, I think, and I might do another reading journal page about that, but I thought it deserved a space in my sketchbook because I really like that book. So the next is just mostly doodles of the day, but this is, I have a student, he's really special, he thinks differently, and in the morning of this day, I saw him just laying on the floor by the window and just enjoying the rays of the sun. And here you see the sun shining through from the window. And then as he was lying down, I greeted him. I'm gonna have to flip this. And this was just him saying, "Ohayo." He looked really happy. Next is, here I finished rereading Virginia Woolf's A Room of One's Own. It's really hard for me to read Virginia Woolf because of the way that she writes, but I love her. And I just put one of her famous quotes, so lock up your libraries if you like, but there is no gate, no lock, no bolt that you can set upon the freedom of my mind. And then she wrote that 95 years ago. And then from my poetry book, I really liked The Guest House by Rumi, and so I wrote it here and made this collage. So this poem is about welcoming loneliness and depression and sadness like a guest in your house. And it ends by saying, "Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond." Then next is more of a travel journal entry. So we went to Kamakura, and if you have seen the anime Slam Dunk, this is going to be very familiar to you. So we went to the train station that inspired the opening scene of the anime and got some stamps as well. They're really cute. This was the big Buddha. And here I just wrote an entry and pasted some of the memos that I got from the Ghibli store there, and our ticket for the day, and this illustration from the brochure. Then on the next page, I pasted the map of the island and some of the stickers, some narration of what happened during the day. And here I put a brochure of the cave that we explored in the island. This was the best view. Then next, I got some new Copic markers. I highly recommend these 3 sets. So they came in a pack and they're very affordable. So I highly recommend them, and you'll see why in the next pages. So I just tried them out here and I did a quick swatch. And some doodles from today. I doodled my outfit from when we went to the island. And I got a new coral red lip gloss. We got a new body wash. And then The Hound of the Baskervilles, which I was reading that day. And then it was still early, but I spotted the first Christmas tree at the mall that day as well. And then this is a continuation of the travel journal. I just pasted the ticket to the big Buddha statue that we saw in Kamakura. And the highlight of that trip was seeing a squirrel from the gardens near the Buddha statue. It was the first time that my husband and I saw a squirrel in real life. It's something that I wanted to remember. I did not draw this from memory. I actually followed a tutorial. This is the tutorial that I followed as I painted that. This is probably my proudest painting in the entire sketchbook because it looks so different and so much better than my previous entries, thanks to the YouTube video. And the next is another book entry of one of my favorite books. I love reading Instructions by Neil Gaiman, and I thought that it deserves to be on the sketchbook. So I just did a collage. I wrote it on a separate paper and then I crumpled it to give it texture, and I just put some stamps and stickers. So this continues to here. Trust dreams, trust your heart, and trust your story. And then I pasted a couple of stickers that I got from AliExpress a long time ago. On the right side is a continuation of my cloud study, and although this looks better than the previous clouds, yes, but I still have not completely figured out how to do the shadows properly, and this just looks like a big smudge. But yeah, I did this in oil pastel, and I thought it would be easier to do it in oil pastel since I would have more control. But yeah, it's not perfect, but I like it. It's still an improvement from the last one. Then next, we are doing clouds again. So this time I worked on it using my Meimei gouache, and it is okay. I like how fluffy it looks. I mean, we still have to work on the shadows, but you guys, just knowing that I came from this to this gives me so much joy, and it just goes to show how important it is to just keep on doing what you want to improve on and just show up to the page. The bottom side of this was something that I covered in white paint because I didn't like it. It was just this muddy hill. I didn't mix the paint right, so I covered it with white paint, and then I just put down this memo that, you know, it's just some notes on how I can make my next clouds better, like more water, mixing the colors first so that I don't panic and the clouds don't dry up before I can mix the color that I wanted. And yeah, a note that says it's okay, don't quit. And here we are. These are my last 2 paintings, and this was inspired by the sunrise in Kamakura, the island, and Enoshima. This was inspired by photos that I took from when we visited Kamakura. For the bottom part of this painting, this was what I was trying to recreate. And then for the top part, yeah, so this was my inspiration, this cloud. It's not exactly the same cloud. It's very far from what inspired it, but I am still happy with this. And then this was a very fiery sunset. And the inspiration for this photo is this sunset. I really like how it turned out, and I'm so excited to draw more clouds in the future. These 3 are the final cloud paintings in the sketchbook. And so these pages are when we went to the Tokyo Metropolitan Museum and we saw the sculptures and paintings borrowed from Musei Capitolini in Rome, and it was so nice. So these are just these are cutouts from the brochures at the museum, and I just used some of my wooden stamps here. And what I'm really proud of are my doodles. So I remember I told you that I really like the Copic multiliners, and I feel like I'm gonna use these all up now. Here I just did some quick illustrations of the sculptures and the paintings that we saw at the museum. So when it comes to drawing, I'm usually overthinking, and there's always a voice inside my head that says you cannot draw, and I wanted to silence that voice, so I decided to use the Copic multiliners right away and not use any pencil or eraser. Despite not having sketched this using pencil beforehand, I'm really proud of how this one turned out. So I just did a quick drawing of the she-wolf sculpture that we saw, a replica of Constantine's foot, and a painting of Diana the Huntress. I cannot draw her face, so I just drew like her body. Like, it's not perfect, but again, it's about showing up to the page and getting something done that is creative. So yeah, these are the drawings. Okay. On the next page, we went to a traditional garden. So this was the brochure that I pasted of the garden that we visited. And I did the same drawing exercise using the Copic markers. And if there's something that I would change here, it would be putting watercolor on top of it. But I like it as it is now, so this is what it looks like. And then on the right side, I just put a stamp on the date, a stamp of the date, and the tickets that we got. So the very last page is when we saw the Taylor Swift Eras Tour movie, and I just put a simple collage of a cardigan and some cottage houses in the UK, and the ticket that we got for the movie. And that's it. The last part is just me testing out my paint mixes and some pencils, and yes. That's it. That is the complete tour of my sketchbook that I started in 2020 and I only finished today. So I hope that you guys like this. Let me know what your favorite pages are in the sketchbook in the comments below. So for me, my favorite pages are this. So my top 3 favorite pages are these, and my final cloud paintings, and the squirrel painting. So let me know what your favorites are in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in my next sketchbook video. Bye!